Yo, what's good, everybody? I see the chat is already popping, man. I'm looking at y'all's comments. Y'all been waiting. We've been waiting. Listen, I'm excited. B Moses is my name. For those who have not met me, I've been on with Scoop the past couple years. Some of y'all know me, have been around. But for those who don't know me, my name is B Moses. The B stands for Bartholomew. I'm joking. It's just B Moses. But anyway, listen, man, we got a great show. Great show, especially with some of the news that dropped today. I know some of y'all already know what's going on, and we're going to dive right into that. All right. Now, listen, I got my good brother, Funky Buck, joining us today. All right. This dude has great inside information. He's well connected, very insightful, knows the game. Really, really great dude. One of the newest contributors and insiders to Buckeye Scoop. So I'm happy to have him on the show. And I wanted to, every superhero needs their theme music, so I wanted to, play a little bit of a video to intro him, I should say. Let me see, just a second. Here we go. All right, how'd you like that, Funky?
Oh no, that was great. Yeah, no, I'm excited to be here. I'm Funky Buck. This is our first show, and just can't wait to do this every single Sunday here at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're gonna be discussing Ohio State football. Yeah, and let's get right into this. So, like when we were prepping for the show a few days ago, yesterday, and I got a really good information from a great person inside Michigan State, and he told me that the NCAA has been informed of information that Coach K, the quarterback coach from Central Michigan, was caught on video outside Spartan Stadium giving Stallions his shirt, his credentials, and all that stuff. So, and all that before that happens, just for the ESPN to release the article, basically justifying what they said. They claimed that they can confirm that Stallions was in the stadium. They have evidence for it, and NCAA has received that evidence. So once the full notice of allegation comes out, I'm assuming that Coach K, the quarterback coach of Central Michigan, will be right in the mix of things. So, but that's just funny how things work out. And right before this show happens, this information drops, and kind of just it was a home run really for the show that really pop it off with
Yeah,
a bang.
which was beautiful, beautiful, man. Listen, yeah, like you said, we were prepped, to lead with that. But it's just funny how news just drops, man. You know what I mean? It's just like, and sometimes it's in a way that takes you a certain direction. Like, ah, boy. But today it was just like, yo, let's get it. Perfect timing. But yes, man. This stuff. Listen, man. This we can do 3 hour blocks per day on this Michigan stuff, man. The levels, the depths of the cheating, the depths of the deception, all of that, man. So, I mean, the daggone Connor Stallions on Central Michigan sideline is just one part of it, one of many. You know what I mean? So, with that said, we talked about Sherrone Moore in the title of the show. That was the big, it was a lot of things in the article. I don't know if you read the ESPN article, but make sure you read it. It dropped today. But it talks about Sherrone Moore deleting 52 text messages. So when you first heard that, Funky, what was your thoughts when you first heard that?
Well, that was just a joke. That was a total joke pushed out there by whatever Michigan beat there was there. But like that, this just proves overwhelmingly that it wasn't just Connor. Connor wasn't the only one who knew about this. It was Sherrone Moore. Jim Harbaugh knew about it. They all knew about it. They're just going to try to push Connor under the bus and just try to say it was all him and try to get away from these punishments. But with the
Yeah.
repeat offender status that is going to happen for all these Michigan coaches, they're going to be down a deep, deep tunnel out here. Like they're going to see some dark times.
Yeah, man. Listen, they've been trying to spin this every which way you can think of and deflect. And 1 minute it's nothing's gonna happen. Next minute is, oh well, they can't prove it, or it just whatever. Like, dude, you cheated. You clearly cheated. The Big Ten commissioner said this months ago in his letter to the NCAA, or I'm sorry, with the NCAA in response to Michigan, that they had evidence that you cheated. It's just the depths of it and the levels of it, and basically seeing who's all implemented. And this information comes out. If you read the ESPN article, not only does it show the 52 text messages were deleted, it also shows that he removed the hard drive from Michigan's, system, and had some players keep it until he retrieved it from them. So this notion that the players didn't know, that's out the window. The lone wolf stuff is out the window because it showed that the coaches had access to it, multiple coaches. You know what I mean? So listen, Sherrone Moore, I was thinking at first, like, man, he might just have to sit out a few games, but I don't know, man. He might have to get canned if there's enough pressure on them, because there's some goofies out there. They'll just say bet and say something stupid and we're gonna fight. Nah, dude. Do y'all understand how serious this is, Scum fans out there listening, watching? We've been telling y'all, but you don't want to listen. Do you understand how serious this is now? That's a serious question.
Yeah, that the add on to that, the big thing about Connor Stalions giving the information about future opponents before he left for Michigan, that completely invalidates every other game they played after that.
Yeah.
So the big thing that Charles Baker said that was at the time I agreed with, and I was like, oh, Michigan probably won those games after the fact fairly. But now looking back at it, I'm like, no, they absolutely didn't. They had that information already that they gave to the players and staff about teams in the future. And there's no reason for me not to believe that those players did not use that information given from Stalions in those prior games. And they said in the article where 13 teams, 58 games in 3 years. Note to self, there wasn't 13 teams in the Big Ten during those years. So they didn't just investigate the top Big Ten teams. They damn well weren't investigating whatever
Right.
Northwestern and Illinois. They're just looking at the big dogs because they're good enough to beat up on the smaller teams, but they're doing the big dogs and the big dogs in the whole entire nation. So the fact that so that doesn't, like the Alabama game, I've now put a red flag next to the Washington game, a red flag next to even the TCU game. We know they cheated back then, but that's the fact that they still lost that game is absurd to me. And this just devaluates the whole entire Michigan last 3 years, every single game. This wasn't just Big Ten games. It was every single game they played, and this went deep. 58
Yeah.
games? How much money does 58 games cost? Like, for flying hotels and stuff? How did Connor Stalions afford all this? There's just no way that he was able to do it by himself. So that just proves that it must have been someone funding him outside, what Uncle T or whatever his name was from the Michigan side, funding this big scandal that was happening. It was expensive. It questioned the integrity of games. I want to pull up the quote right now about what they said about it. If you can beat me to it, that'd be great. But about how the NCAA said where was this? Oh my God. Oh, they basically questioned what he did, questioned the integrity of college sports. How could someone read that and be like, yeah, nothing's going to happen? Wow. Like,
Listen, Funky, you are completely wrong, buddy. It's called vacuum cells. He's the best vacuum salesman on the planet. What are you talking about? That's where the money came from. Broken down vacuums. Man, listen, bro. I can't wait for the 30 for 30 to drop on this. That's another thing. They need to
oh,
interview me
wow.
for the 30 for 30. Give me
Oh,
my opinion so I can, so
hey,
I can
Buckeye
weigh
Scoop
it.
better be quoted in that. We've been on top of this since day
Yes.
one on this. Nevada and Kirk, they've nailed
Yeah.
it right on the head. Every single thing. Let me just read the quote about the lack of institutional control. They bring it up in here. They
Yeah.
Where is this? Okay. They're hitting Michigan with probably going to be multiple level 1 violations. One for being for in not cooperating with the investigation. And one of them will probably be the continuous effort of them not doing anything. And the last one will be just a straight up cheating that they did and the lack of it, the ignoring it, and it's happened multiple times. It's just crazy how this was like allowed to happen for 3 straight years. Um,
Yeah.
Here's
Yeah.
the
And
other.
listen, oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Hit me with
So
other
yeah,
points.
the school also faces a level 1 violation charge according to the draft because of its pattern of non-compliance within the football program. So this happens multiple times, like what Nevada was saying back in the day. It was the repeat offenders and institutional efforts to hinder the NCAA investigation. So they're getting one for just repeatedly doing it and one for just not cooperating in this thing. And that just along with all the 7 other coaches that are going to be faced with show clauses, plus all the other recruiting violations that he did that they found in this that are not related to the cheeseburger incident. Because this is totally unrelated to the cheeseburger incident. That's still going on though a little bit with Jim Harbaugh. So Jim Harbaugh is going to be facing a level 1 for this and cheeseburger incident. And so yeah, some Bimos, what do you think about them trying to still say Jim Harbaugh had no clue about this investigation or no clue about this thing?
Listen, Michigan fans, we all know, you know, we know, your mama knows, everybody knows that Jim Harbaugh knew. Okay. So if they can't find a specific paper trail on file, when they I'm sorry, do the investigation, okay, that hasn't come out yet. But even if that is the case, where they can't nail him down like completely full stop, because of a lack of a paper trail, we know he knew. We're not dummies. We saw the dude whispering sweet nothings in his ear on the sidelines in 4K, like we all been saying. Just stop it. You're in denial. We know that. And let me go back and hit on what you said, Funky, about Scoop, being consistent with this. Yes, Nevada has been very consistent about this scum stuff for months now. Some have ridiculed, some have trolled, and whatever, poo-pooed. But everything that's been happening down the line has been lining up. Okay. And one thing he has said, to his credit, you know how his one of his favorite mantras is, timing these things are dicey, right? Because the NCAA, it's hard to time them because they go on their own time. Like, we know that. Like, we want them to hurry up, but they're going to take their sweet time. So yes, maybe he thought they were coming out, April, May, because that's probably what he was told. And then guess what? This whole investigation is so deep and crooked that even more information was probably flowing in. The bottom line is this: the end result of the prediction looks like it's going to happen. They're going to get popped. They're going to get hammered. So that's all that matters to me. I don't even care about the timing. Just do what's right. You know what I mean? Like, period. If you're ever going to get vacated wins and bowl bans for any violation, this is it, y'all. We got popped for tattoos in exchange for memorabilia that our players earned. We got vacated wins and a bowl ban for that. You mean to tell me that's not going to happen here? Like, putting Nevada to the side and his sources, just use logic. Look at past precedent of the NCAA and what they've done. It doesn't really take that much. You know what I mean? So it's just this notion that this is a nothing burger is just extra stupid to me. And even some of our fans have bought into it. Come on, man. Like, this news that dropped today is just another domino to show you something about the pop. Period.
No, exactly. Yeah, and Michigan fans are going to continue just start just at first nothing at all was going to happen. They
Right.
weren't even sure if a notice application was going to come out. They said all this stuff, and then the next thing that happens was they're now like, well, something may happen, but it won't be anything. It'll just be fines and stuff. And then the next thing that happened was, oh well, something was probably going to happen, and it might involve a bowl ban, but we're going to fight it. We're going to fight it. And now this comes out, and it's like, oh, this is not just a bowl ban. This is 7 coaches at minimum are going to face show clauses. Then it's they question the integrity of the football game. So it's like, oh wow, so they're probably now going to vacate wins and suspend our coaches. Oh, but and then they really said the bowl ban's probably going to happen, like for the NCAA, for the actual school getting punished for it, for their lack of investigation and all that stuff. And the NCAA has been setting this up now for a while.
Yeah.
They released that thing I want to say it was 2 months ago, but I'm losing track at this point. But they basically highlight it the cooperation rules in NCAA, and they basically said, if you demonstrate great cooperation, your punishment will be less. If you don't demonstrate great cooperation, your punishment will be more. That's pretty much what they said, and they're setting it up right for Michigan to get slammed, and now they have the backing for it. They said, hey, they didn't cooperate. If they would have cooperated, they might have only gotten a 1-year bowl ban and those wins vacated, but only a 1-year bowl ban and then lesser show clauses for the coaches. But now that's just they let's just say the NCAA said bet. They responded to bet. That's what it is. Those clowns over there. It's almost embarrassing.
Yeah, not almost. I know you're being
Yeah.
kind with that description. It's ridiculously embarrassing. We're gonna hit I can't talk. The super chats in a little bit. I see you, Jim Jackson. We're gonna hit you up in a little bit. And then whoever else has super chats, send them in the comments. I will see them and we will address them. But yes, man. Yes, bro. Listen. Scum fans keep telling us, "Oh, you're crying and you're just clinging to this because we beat you." First of all, no. You cheated. You put this on our doorstep. We wouldn't have this to talk about if you didn't do it, if your program wasn't corrupt. This is the bottom line, y'all. Listen, Scum fans out there listening. We beat y'all 20 straight years in a row. It was like clubbing a baby seal every year. Domination. 2020, we all know what happened. You backed out. You didn't want to play. You didn't want to get, that booty tapped and get blown out in 2020. So you act like you didn't have enough to play. We know that. Come on. Even Kirk Herbstreit came out. Hey, he had to apologize. Y'all remember that? He had to apologize on air because he said he had sources that told him that they were backing out of that game. They wanted no business with that game. Do y'all remember that? I do. So we know that, y'all backed out. So there's that. Boom. The cheating scandal, behind the scenes launches. All of a sudden we start losing. Especially in 2020, 2022, was that the home game where the second half of the game was just super like head scratching? Like, hold on, man, this is weird. You couldn't really wrap your head around because we dominated in the first half, held them to 9 yards rushing, all that. There was some mistakes made, but the point is there was some head scratching moments, especially in that second half. Listen, it all makes sense now. To get off the schneid, they had to cheat to beat their rival and to just get out of the dungeons of college football. They sold their soul to win, period. That's what the evidence is telling us. And ain't no telling what more is out there that the NCAA isn't covering. That's not something I'm making up. That's not something Buckeye Nation is whining about and just concocting. This is what you did. You cheated. You changed the outcome of games by illegally stealing signs. Kirk in Nevada showed the video clip last week that was just like, I've seen this before, but it really hit home, where they showed the play where they had Connor next to Minter, and he said, run right. And then Minter signaled in, and they showed Marvin Harrison and Ibuka out there one-on-one, 2 first-round receivers, one-on-one. And both safeties triggered and went straight to the right side of the offensive line and made the play. You mean to tell me that doesn't affect games? Like, are you stupid? Like, for real? Like, I'm asking y'all like a question. Are you stupid? Even if you haven't played the game. Like, if I know what you're going to do, I don't want to hear this. Oh, you just got to stop it. Man, that's weak. You got to stop it. Nah. Just stop being, you're intellectually dishonest. So, listen, man, for months we've had to hear this crap. So, yes, I'm popping champagne bottles once these sanctions drop because they were well-deserved. And y'all been popping off at the mouth for months and basically flossing this fake natty and this fake 3 years of success y'all have had. So, yeah, I'm going in on y'all.
Yeah.
So prepare. My bad. Ran over for now.
You're all good. So the one thing I want to add to that is Jim Harbaugh, when you look back at his history of talking about other teams cheating, which will include the SEC and stuff, he's always been so obsessed with it. This is an obsession he's had for so long. This isn't a new thing that he has. It's been something that he's been talking about for years and years and years, and he kept losing and losing, and he's wondering, how do I get over this hump? These other teams are cheating, but let's just say they're cheating in probably a lot different fashions, but down in the SEC. So he's like, what can we do as Michigan that can still keep our integrity of keeping our Michigan brand, but do something to go over that hump and beat Ohio State and win more games. And it saved his job. He was about to get fired. He should have got
Yep.
fired. He should
Yep.
have got fired. Michigan fans wanted him fired. Michigan fans that now praise him as this great Michigan man wanted him gone. They wanted him gone, and the only thing he wanted to do was just cheat. He needed to cheat to get over the hump. So that's what he did. He went to it and he did it, and he almost got away with it. If they would have stopped like a year prior and he would have went to the Minnesota Vikings in 2022 before they won a natty, he would have gone left, beat Ohio State twice, had made the college football playoffs twice, which is very successful seasons, and this probably would have not come out. Or maybe it would have, who knows. But he just kept wanting more and more, and it came back to him like crazy. And sorry, just to address something in the chat. Nevada and Kirk will have their show, but it'll be after us. So they're going to start here at 7 p.m. Eastern, just to address that real quick. But yeah, but like this whole thing was crazy. Jim Harbaugh, like you could talk, he wrote about it in his book, and he also talked about it in interviews. He was obsessed with cheating. It wasn't a new thing in his head. But yeah, I just want to add that onto what you're saying, B. Moses.
No, absolutely. But Scum fans, they have short memories. Like they forgot about all that.
Mhm.
Now it's just a completely different narrative as if none of that happened. Let me hit some of these super chats. Thank you for the super chats, y'all. First of all, I appreciate y'all. So first is Jim Jackson. I hope somebody sends a deuce because I always wanted to say, hey, Kirk, if you listen, I always wanted to say thanks for the deuce, like Kirk be saying. So hopefully that happens. But anyway, congrats, fellas. B. Moses made for this. Much love for you both. Have you two heard about anything about David Sanders? So yes, we do have something to say about Sanders. We're going to save that probably for last or maybe in a moment. But yes, we will touch on that briefly for you. And I appreciate you, Jim. Good dude. Jim Jackson is a really good dude, man. Met the dude in person. Great guy. So yeah, thank you for that. Next one, Maurice Clarinet. I love that name. Well, thanks for the deuce. That's actually two. That's a deuce. I'll take that. Do you think Michigan will get the death penalty? And I don't, because the death penalty doesn't really exist anymore. But to me, you want to know my definition of hammer? Because everybody's going to have a subjective definition of what hammer means. My definition of hammer is vacated wins and bowl bans. Now, to me, naturally other things will happen like show causes, fines, scholarly reductions and all that. I just think that's naturally going to happen. But the correct thing to do based off of past precedent is taking them wins away and banning them from the postseason. To me, that's the hammer. So if that happens, then yeah, hammer time. Doom, 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 doom. All right, let's go to the next one. I had to
Wait,
do
no,
that. It's just
I have
natural.
something to add on
Oh
to
yeah, go ahead.
the thinking
My
about the
bad.
death penalty. No, you're all good. The in in terms of the death penalty, first of all, I don't think they'll do the death penalty just because of how badly it affected SMU. It was, I mean, they're still really dealing with it today. They're not, I mean, they just haven't recovered. But the one thing I will say was I was never ever even thinking about even something close to the death penalty, really, because whatever, I just didn't think that would really happen. But in this article, they said, quote, seriously undermine it or threaten the integrity of the NCAA collegiate model. That wording has not been used in a notice of allegations since the death penalty in SMU for
Preach,
SMU.
Moji. Preach.
So if I'm not saying to me death penalty. I don't think it. I'm sticking with just vacated wins and multi-year bowl ban and the coach sanctions. But that wording just shows how serious the NCAA is taking this. This is not a nothing burger. This is
Right.
going to be the close. This is what the greatest cheating scandal in college football modern day history. Like since the death penalty, since that whole case. Even though this is arguably worse than that, the SMU just so blatant with it, and that was at such a weird time where NCAA didn't really, or whatever, they still don't encourage paying players, but whatever, that was at a different time of the year. But at this, like in this current modern era, what Michigan did was about just as blatant as you can ever do. Besides, for maybe paying the refs, but I feel like that just would be almost impossible. But that'd be the only thing I would say it would be even slightly more than this. But like that line right there, undetermined or threaten the integrity of the NCAA collegiate
That's
model,
huge.
like
Yes.
that's huge. That's
Yeah.
massive. Like that's massive. But but it just
Massive. People hate that,
massive.
but
I know
keep
they
hating
do.
it. But but yeah, that's great. That's a great point. Yeah. So no death penalty, but that language in the article is very very important. If some of y'all still on the fence about how serious this is, read the article. Super chat from Tyler. Is it Kersley? My bad if I mispronounce. 4.99. Thank you for that. Funky Buck and B Moses. T-Sun fans are now quiet because now all their lies have been disproven, but yet they were so confident nothing was going to happen. So Tyler, listen, man, I hate to disappoint you, but I still have a lot of T-Sun fans who are not quiet. You still see media, Michigan media beat writers still twisting and spinning and oh, the letter is old. It's an old letter. Or um, the text messages that were deleted by Sherrone Moore weren't, they didn't connect him to Connor Stallions. First of all, the article doesn't say that. Number one. Number two, so I don't believe that. Number two, why are you deleting 52 text messages that aren't incriminating? Why? What's the point of that? Like, riddle me that. Again, use logic here. Just think for 2 seconds. We're not stupid. So unfortunately, you still got Michigan fans on social media before I even hopped on live with y'all, still spinning it and still basically making it seem like nothing's going to happen. So, but some of them, you look at their boards, some of them are starting to like, okay, it's starting to hit them now. Like, oh, like, our insiders have been lying to us and we've been drinking the Kool-Aid and we about to get popped. So
Yeah.
reality setting in.
No, you're totally right on that. But like, I truly think Michigan fans though are they're starting to turn the corner, especially the smarter ones, and they're turning this from, hey, we
The
whatever,
smarter ones. Oh,
nothing
go
will.
ahead.
Yeah, sorry,
My bad.
the thing won't, like, nothing will happen or whatever. It's just whatever, nothing's gonna happen, and they kind of change their tone from they think nothing's gonna happen to like I would say some of them have been thinking now that they know something's going to happen and they expect something to happen, but they're just going to play the victim card. They're going to be, hey, it's the NCAA's fault. What is that? Why is the NCAA just releasing it now? Of course, the ESPN just gets it right before training camp, right after the biggest recruiting weekend of the thing. Now just playing the victim card. It's them versus Pete Thamel. They hate Pete Thamel because Pete Thamel actually speaks the truth. So it's just, oh, why are they releasing it now? Like, yes, of course they do this, blah 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 blah. They're gonna release the information when they get the information when it's prior. I bet you the NCAA didn't like when Connor Stallions was gonna sit there and make a whole documentary before the notice of allegations gets released. So maybe that played a small part of it in them
Good
leaking,
point.
quote quote, I'm quoting, air quoting right now, leaking this information to ESPN beforehand. No, of course they leaked it probably on purpose because y'all are playing these games and keep saying these lies and lying to these recruits that of course and they're gonna leak something like what you're asking them for, dude. That's their job. They're gonna get the information and they're gonna release it, and they're just speaking everything what they said was facts. And now they claimed, I'll let you talk about this, but about the this is an old version of the document. This isn't the new one.
Man, listen, I'm just laughing because all of this is hilarious. It's just bro, like the levels of stupidity is mind numbing. I see a comment I wanted to address. Amber Nicole 313. It said that leads me to believe that Michigan will not fight this in court and have no choice but to submit to the NCAA. Yeah, listen, I thank you for the comment. First of all, I wanted to mention that because the goofiness of the we're gonna fight. Remember what happened when the Big Ten commissioner said he was going to suspend Harbaugh for the remaining, what was it, 3 games of the season?
Yep.
And they were just so, they were going to lawyer up, and you don't want no smoke with the Michigan attorneys and lawyers. Man, shut up. Y'all bent right over and took it. I don't want to hear none of that fighting crap. You're not going to fight anything because if you take this to court, guess what's going to happen? There's a little something called discovery where everything will have to come out. And y'all don't want that. You don't want that. So stop it. You're going to take it and you're going to like it. You know why? Because you did it. So
Yeah.
listen, that's just the bottom line, man. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sorry, but the
Go
add
ahead.
on to that, I've always said from day one that I think Michigan is eventually going to just come up with some settlement with NCAA, and I think it'll like maybe be like I think I just have a feeling they'll come up with a settlement that may lower a show clause for a current head coach or for a current coach, or maybe make it a one, or maybe I think maybe they'll make it just a 1 or 2 year postseason ban instead of maybe a 3+ year postseason ban, or lower something or whatever. Just I think eventually they're gonna break and just admit to it and do it. Just I think it's gonna get to a point where it's so blatantly obvious that if they don't do something, they're just gonna get destroyed. So, and I think that the NCAA has them in a grip. They know they're not going to let them off easy. Michigan knows that. So I think what the settlement they're going to take is still going to be really, really, really horrible. And it's just going to set them back years and years and years. And just, I don't know, the lying and coping is just going to continue to happen until something really comes down. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And listen, y'all, we're going to end in about 5 to 10 minutes tops. Right now, we're about at 30. So maybe 5 to 10 more minutes. If you got any questions, super chats, get them in now. But I did want to address this right here because this is another thing. Let me go back to Doug's comment. This is another thing. Doug Shaver, what up, brother? This is another thing Scum fans like to trot out there, right? As a gotcha. But if you do more research and have more insight, you know how really it's just invalid. So basically what it is, Doug Shaver, I wonder about one other thing too. Couldn't have been all about signals formation to be filmed also in case signals would change. Only makes sense if they cover all their bases. So signal changing. So Scum fans will say, Ryan Day already admitted he changes signals. This is what y'all need to understand, okay? All these schools, these major college football schools, anybody, you talk to a coach on the coaching staff, a player, they have packages of signals. Do you understand that? There's not just one package of signals. They have packages of signals. This is why Connor Stallions went to 8 different Ohio State games. Because one would think, why would just go to one? If it's just one package of signals, pick their signals on that day. He went to 8 different games and went to several other different games, but he went to Ohio State the most, I believe. Why? That way you can get all the packages of signals you can get. So guess what? After halftime of the game, you can look and see what package of signals they're using if you weren't able to pick them in the first half. And then you can come back and boom, this is what they're using. Did y'all understand that? Do you understand that? So this whole he changed his signal thing, you can only change so much on the fly when you have multiple packages of signals. Like, I want y'all to get that through your head so you can still cheat. Do y'all understand how much this dude did to get this stuff? Like, this was elaborate, y'all. Go read the reports, man. Like, this was a military operation, like flat out. Like, this is the level in depth that he went to make sure that he covered all his bases, like Funky said. So I just wanted to address that because y'all keep trotting that out there like that's a gotcha card. It's not. That just means you lack understanding.
Yeah. And the one thing I saw in the chat that I just want to respond, someone said it went away, but they said the NCAA should open up the portal for all Michigan players. The best thing is that's gonna happen. The portal's free. You can do the portal pretty much any time during this. Like right now is too late, so this season will be whatever the season is, and I think this season they're gonna get punished. I think it'll probably be a suspension. I think I honestly I'm gonna say it out here. I don't think Sherrone Moore will be the head coach at Michigan for the Texas football when they play Texas. I think they're gonna try to jump ahead and suspend them for the first 3-6 games of the season and hopefully bend the knee to the NCAA. But I think that's gonna happen, and I think that and then after the season ends, whatever happens, once they go 9-3 at best, 8-4 is what I would predict personally. Yeah, I think 8-4 is what I would predict. And then, but I think so they won't make the playoffs. They won't do all that. But then right when the season ends, the portal's open for everybody. It's gonna be free pickings at the roster once this actually lands. Because the players stayed this year because they knew nothing will probably happen this year because of how slow the NCAA is and how they probably got lied to too. They probably said, "Oh no, nothing's gonna happen," even if the investigation's still going, but they found nothing, and these players are getting lied to, just like everyone was, just like all those Michigan fans were. The players were hearing the same nonsense, So, and even at worst, they're like, well, if something happens, you'll be gone. So of course they stayed. They won a national championship. They got a fat deal of money, and they can stay for 1 year. And then after this 1 year, they could leave and just go anywhere they want, or go to the draft or whatever. And all these recruits, they don't really care. They can stay in because they can literally ask Michigan. They lost 2 recruits from the class of 2024 in the portal in the spring. That like, so you could literally just portal out. You can sign, go to the school in January and February, and portal out in like March and May or whatever that months are. You guys understand? So like that doesn't, like, that won't really affect them this year, but that's going to happen. Their people are going to portal out, and they're going to continue to portal out. And like, so that's why this is like huge. It's massive. The transfer portal, and transfer portals makes it so much worse.
Absolutely. CW, thanks for the 10. Brother, I appreciate it. Glad you're enjoying the show. Hope you are enjoying the show. This is our first kickoff show, man. Like, again, this news dropping on our first show is just phenomenal. Like, blessing. I was just like, you got to be kidding me. The timing of this. So, because I was ready to go in. Am I being too passionate? You know, in my rants, I got another rant in me before we close this out.
I'm gonna go for it.
Because, and I'm looking at the comments. Who said Michigan fans are just lying to themselves right now? Yeah, it was Ryan Day's beard, which I love. I love that name. But listen, Buckeye fans, all right, as we put a bow on this show, as we wrap this up, think about this. They had to put together a 3-year cheating scandal to get off the schneid, right? You know, they go through, you know, win their fake natty, whatever. All this is going to come crashing down. All right, we know that it's just been drip, drip, drip. That's another thing Nevada has said is, you know, a little bit, you know, at first, and then, you know, it's going to hit. So we've had the best offseason that I can ever remember, you know, with the transfer portal acquisitions, with, more importantly, the players, all these seniors coming back because they know they want to end their legacy on the right, you know, on the right foot. And the brotherhood is real, y'all. You know, people, you know, don't scoff at the brotherhood. The brotherhood is real. This notion that they came back for NIL is dumb, because they could have made a lot more money in the league. And there was a lot of them that came back that was going first or second day or close. They didn't come back for money. Money helped them to come back and make that decision that they probably couldn't have done 10 years ago or 5 years ago without NIL, but they wanted to come back, and they did. So right there, all of that is great. The acquisition of Chip Kelly, I mean, just everything that popped off in the off season was phenomenal. Meanwhile, the supposed national champs had the worst off season that I can ever remember for a national championship winner.
For anybody.
Thank you for that. Anybody.
Yeah,
right.
For anybody.
So there's that. And then now we about to slide into the 2024 season with a phenomenal team. Great coaching staff, expectations out the roof, new playoff is on the horizon. Like, the excitement that I have as a fan and that you should have as a fan is incredible. This, you know, there's been people who say, well, I'm tired of hearing about this. Let's talk about we can walk and chew gum, y'all. We can have shows about this and celebrate and break down, you know, fall camp, which we will do. But this is phenomenal, y'all. As a Buckeye fan, we just going to sit back, pop bottles, and laugh at these clowns once everything drops. Go ahead, Funky.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'm 19 years old, so I've not been alive for that long, but this is the worst offseason I've seen for pretty much any team I could ever imagine. Only thing that ever I can even compare to this are some of these Cleveland Cavaliers when LeBron leaves. Like that's what it feels like for Michigan. It's like, oh no, like everything is falling apart. We're going to go from going to the NBA Finals every year to, or whatever, NBA Finals, college football playoffs, similar, I guess, to now we're going to be in the dips of nothingness for years. And I just can't. I know how bad that feels as a fan, and I even remember myself being like trying to convince myself that Kevin Love can take us to the promised land like LeBron did. And then that's why I feel like Scum fans are like, they're like, well, no, we're fine. Nothing's going to happen. They're just going to or lied, like they're gonna keep lying to us, and there's nothing. We're gonna fight it, and nothing's gonna happen. And like, because they just want to hold on to the hope of winning, and I get that. Honestly, I can understand that actually. Like when I put it in that terms, I'm like, damn, I could convince myself of just about anything if I believed Kevin Love can lead us to the promised land. Then that I if I believed in Santa Claus, if I could believe that the NCAA what moves like a tugboat, because then you can claim victory until they absolutely do something. Which I mean, it's still, and this is the punishment still probably is a little bit away. That's the thing that people also have to
Yeah.
realize. The notification hasn't been released yet. So if Michigan wants to take this all the way through, no matter that's 90 days and then 60 days to respond. So it's still a few months away. And until then, every day, all you're going to hear is Michigan fans saying, nothing's going to happen. Sam Webb is going to lie again. Sorry, again. Sam,
Scam
he just
web.
get
Oh, go ahead.
Scam Webb. Yes, Scam Webb is just going to
Correction.
lie and lie and lie and lie. So whatever. Just like, yeah, I mean, what a great first show though. I mean, this is awesome. This is awesome. First
Yes.
show, a banger. I'm open for any and all criticism. So if you have any criticism, leave it where I just put it in the comments if I need to slow down my talking, because I know that was an issue for a second. So just leave it there. I'm open for it. But yeah, no, I can't. This is great. And I saw someone dump the David Sanders update.
Yeah, I want to hit
I
that
mean,
before we bang out.
yeah, well, and I I thought Ohio State was, or I still think Ohio State is in a very, very, very good spot for David Sanders. I think with him not getting on a visit to Ohio State, people have already complained about it. I agree. Really, Ohio State should have a visit that weekend. I think it's ridiculous and almost lazy that we don't. That's just my opinion on it. I think so. I think just giving him another opportunity to visit Tennessee, and really, I don't care about Nebraska. Visiting Tennessee, like that was definitely a bet, like not great. And I've heard something about and uh and yeah, well, but still, I have a lot of great sources inside of this Ohio State recruiting class, and I've made some great friends inside this Ohio State recruiting class, and they still love where we're at for David Sanders. So I just think that like this is just almost last visit bias. I still think it's 50-50 though. So Tennessee still has a 50, I still think a 50% chance to get David Sanders. But I think there's a very good chance he picks to be a Buckeye. But I totally wouldn't be shocked if he buys into the SEC football that is Tennessee. It's close to home. So that makes sense to me a little bit too. But people think it's like I saw a report that's a 2-man game between Nebraska and Tennessee. That's just, you're just
No.
talking about the visits. Like that's just the last 2 visits. From what I'm hearing, I still think David Sanders is in a very good spot to join this class. Will it take a little more pushing? Justin Fry need to text him one more time, but this recruitment's not going to end until January ever. So but I still love where we're at for David Sanders, and and it was just hard to be too confident because obviously there's a lot of negative energy in energy in like the era right now. But overall, from what I've been hearing from recruits, they still think David Sanders is going to be a Buckeye. The Ohio State staff, from what I've been hearing, especially from Nevada, has been telling me that he thinks that David Sanders is going to be a Buckeye. Kirk thinks he's going to be a Buckeye, or thinks Ohio State thinks he's going to be a Buckeye because of the relationship with Paris Johnson and all that stuff and competing at a higher level. Then, so overall, that's my update. Obviously, like not as positive as I would love to say. I would still love to say, oh, yeah, he's 100% going to be a Buckeye. This is just BS. But no, I mean, it's a 50-50 chance. But let's just say I think it's a higher chance than it was to get Caleb Downs. People thought we didn't have a chance at Caleb Downs. So I think this chance is way, way, way higher than the Caleb Downs. So it's still
Yeah.
50-50 and it's still recruiting. And I don't think it'll end right now. I think it'll end in January. So we're still going to recruit him until January. August 17th, I think it'll be a coin flip where he goes. Hopefully it's Ohio State. And I think it's very well could be Ohio State. But whatever, it's going to end in January. And if once Tennessee loses 5 games, they go 7-5. And Ohio State goes 11-1, wins the Big Ten,
Right.
and is going into the playoffs as the Big Ten championships, the number 2 or 1 seed. Then so be it. Yeah, like I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on it.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. This is going to be a battle, period. I mean, number one player in the entire country.
Yep.
We're going to see how this staff matches up against the Tennessee staff. NIL will not be an issue. It's about recruiting, and it comes down to that. We're going to see who bangs this out, period. Zach Hoganson, thank you for the super chat. Deleting text equals consciousness of guilt. Absolutely. My brother Bray, what's good, man? Thanks for tuning in. Bray Sims, homeboy from Atlanta. Appreciate you, man, for the deuce and my Kirk voice. Appreciate that. All right, so let me see what else we got. Oh, gotcha. Look at Mickey. Thank you, Mickey. I appreciate that. Thanks for the super chat. Let us show today be Moses Funky. Hope to see more of you guys. You absolutely will, sir or ma'am. You absolutely will. Next Sunday and in between, we're gonna be doing a lot of content, man. The season's about to crack, and I'm telling you, man, you're gonna be seeing us a lot more. That's for sure. So listen, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. We had about 45 minutes right now. Leave comments on the video, share with your friends, all that. I thoroughly enjoyed this first show, y'all, man. How about you, Funky? You had a good time?
No, this was great. Thanks for being here. This was honestly, it was better than I had really like good expectations, and you guys blew it out of the water. It's always great. Buckeye Scoop family is great. And I mean, this season is just going to be, I mean, this might be one of the best Ohio State seasons of all time. The only thing better than Ohio State going undefeated and winning a national championship is seeing our rivals, Michigan, lose every game. I know Kirk likes to see them win a little bit so we can beat them, but oh gosh, they're going to lose and they're going to get punched by NCAA and we're going to win. Can't get much better than this. I mean, it's a great year to be a Buckeye. And there's one more super chat, P. Moses.
Is
if
it?
you see that. Yep.
Okay. Chocolate chips, Gucci. Thanks for the super chat. Let's go.
One more.
FUMU. Love this. That name threw me off, bro. Survive the hunt. Thank you. Congrats on the new show. I appreciate that. Thank you for all the super chats. And I'll end the show out with this. For the Scum fan, John D. Adamo, thank you for commenting. A very, very famous philosopher by the name of Biggie Small said, "Your reign on the top was short like leprechauns as I crushed so-called Willie's thugs and Rapadons." You're done. You're done. All right. Just sit there and take it. It's over. It's a wrap. All right. We're gonna keep talking about it.
They're gonna have a harsh reality when they have not been. If you tune into our camp watch, I'm sure Nevada and Kirk will talk about this tonight too. Though our O line has been amazing. This is one of the better O lines that has happened in the last 5, 6, 7 years. Like our line's been amazing, and Will Howard's been fantastic. So I mean, damn, I mean, I'm all in on the Will Howard train, and the practices have been proving it. We've been saying this since day one. The Big 12 champion Will Howard, the Texas beater Will Howard, the team Will Howard beat TCU, who beat y'all the next week. So, or the next month, the next game. So yeah, just can't wait for that. That's going to be the O line's going to be a strength of our team this year. So that's the laughable point of this. Like people look at the Missouri. Yeah, we talk about that later. Yeah.
We're gonna break that down thoroughly. Yeah. And I know the whole verse, Southeast. I know the whole verse, but I ain't gonna go with it. We about to end it, man. Listen, I appreciate y'all. Again, share next Sunday, same time, 6 p.m. All right. Thank you so much for joining in. I'll talk to y'all later. Go Bucks.